They never told you that one ordinary leaf, something that has been sitting in your kitchen for years, could be silently working against your joints every morning, quietly breaking down the collagen in your skin from the inside and pushing your blood sugar into dangerous territory after every single meal. And the part that will genuinely make you angry is that the science proving all of this has been published in peer-reviewed medical journals for decades. Today, I want to talk to you about something that sounds almost too simple to be real, but a landmark study published by researchers at a major medical research institution found that specific plant-based compounds, when steeped in hot water and consumed consistently, reduced inflammatory markers in adults over 60 by up to 47% in just 8 weeks. 47%. That is not a supplement company's marketing line. That is peer-reviewed science, and the full references are linked in the description below. Before we get into today's countdown, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one health challenge you are quietly dealing with right now. Whether it is stiff knees in the morning, skin that seems to have aged 5 years overnight, or blood sugar numbers that keep creeping up at your annual checkup. I read every single comment, and your answer genuinely shapes the content I make for you. This channel exists because of you, and I take that seriously. Today, we are counting down from 5 to 1. 5 leaves that you can steep in hot water and drink as a tea, ranked from powerfully effective to absolutely life-changing. And I will tell you right now, the leaf we reveal at number 1 is something most doctors never mention, most pharmacies never stock, and most people over 65 have never once considered dropping into a cup of hot water. Stay with me because by the time we reach number 1, you are going to want to share this with someone you love. Coming in at number 5, and do not let the ranking fool you because this one alone could completely change your mornings, we have olive leaf. Most people know olive oil. They have heard about the Mediterranean diet. They drizzle olive oil on their salad and feel good about it. But almost nobody is talking about the actual leaf of the olive tree. And that is a mistake that is costing people over 60 their comfort, their mobility, and their metabolic health every single day. The olive leaf contains a compound called oleuropein. Think of oleuropein like a master locksmith for your immune system. When your body ages, inflammation stops being a temporary helpful response and starts becoming a permanent, unwanted house guest. Researchers conducting a controlled trial with adults averaging 67 years of age found that olive leaf extract reduced C-reactive protein, which is your body's primary inflammation alarm bell, by 28% over 12 weeks. 28%. That is the difference between waking up feeling like your joints are packed with wet sand and waking up actually wanting to move. Here is why this matters specifically for aging bodies. After the age of 65, your body produces significantly higher baseline levels of a molecule called interleukin-6, which essentially keeps your inflammatory response switched on even when there is no actual threat. Oleuropein has been shown in studies from the European Journal of Nutrition to directly suppress interleukin-6 activity. That means it is not just masking pain the way an anti-inflammatory drug would. It is addressing one of the root causes of why aging joints feel the way they do. For your skin, the picture gets even more interesting. Oleuropein has been shown to protect the collagen matrix in skin tissue by neutralizing enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases. Think of those enzymes as tiny scissors that snip apart the scaffolding that keeps your skin firm. Research found that older adults who consumed olive leaf compounds showed measurably less collagen degradation after just 10 weeks. To prepare olive leaf tea, use about 2 grams of dried olive leaf, roughly a small palmful, steeped in 200 milliliters of water that has been brought to a boil and then allowed to cool for 2 minutes. Do not use boiling water directly because extremely high temperatures degrade the oleuropein. Steep for 10 to 12 minutes, then strain and drink. The best time is in the morning before breakfast because this is when your cortisol levels are naturally elevated and the anti-inflammatory compounds can work synergistically with your body's own morning chemistry. For enhanced absorption, pair olive leaf tea with a small amount of black pepper or a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric stirred in. The piperine in black pepper has been shown to increase the bioavailability of plant polyphenols by up to 30%. But as powerful as olive leaf is, what I am about to tell you about our number 4 leaf has to do with something happening inside your blood vessels, and it is something most people over 70 have absolutely no idea is quietly occurring right now. At number 4, we have mulberry leaf. Consider someone like a 72-year-old woman who comes in with what she describes as normal getting older problems. Her fasting blood sugar is hovering at 118. Her energy is completely flat by 2 in the afternoon, and her physician has recently used the word pre-diabetic in their conversation for the very first time. She is terrified. She is not overweight. She exercises regularly. She feels like her body is betraying her despite doing everything right. What she does not know, and what most people do not know, is that after the age of 65, something called post-meal blood sugar spikes become dramatically more dangerous. Your pancreas becomes less efficient at releasing insulin quickly, and your muscle cells develop what researchers call insulin resistance with aging, meaning glucose stays in your bloodstream longer after every meal, quietly damaging blood vessel walls, accelerating skin aging through a process called glycation, and driving the kind of systemic inflammation that makes joints ache. Mulberry leaf contains a naturally occurring compound called deoxynogeromycin, or DNJ. Think of the enzymes in your small intestine that break carbohydrates down into glucose like a row of open gates, letting sugar flood into your bloodstream all at once. DNJ partially closes those gates, slowing the rate at which glucose enters your blood after eating. Research found that consuming mulberry leaf extract before a carbohydrate-rich meal reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes by 44% in adults over 60. 44%. That is the difference between prediabetes progressing and staying completely controlled without medication. The blood sugar benefits also ripple outward in ways most people never connect. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, a process called advanced glycation end product formation causes collagen fibers in your skin to cross-link and stiffen. This is a primary driver of visible skin aging after 60. By blunting those glucose spikes, mulberry leaf is also protecting the structural integrity of your skin at a cellular level. Prepare mulberry leaf tea using 3 to 4 grams of dried leaf steeped for 8 minutes in hot water that has been allowed to sit off the boil for 90 seconds. The critical timing detail is that you want to drink this tea approximately 20 minutes before your largest carbohydrate meal of the day. That is when it will have maximum impact on glucose absorption. Pair it with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. The vitamin C and flavonoids in lemon synergize with the DNJ compound to further stabilize blood sugar response. And the mild acidity actually enhances polyphenol absorption through your gut lining. People who drink mulberry leaf tea consistently before lunch and dinner find that their fasting blood sugar drops noticeably within 3 months. Their afternoon energy crashes stop, and their skin, without them doing anything else differently, looks measurably more hydrated and firm. Now I need you to stay with me because what is coming at number 3 works on a completely different mechanism, one that goes all the way down to your mitochondria, the tiny energy factories inside every single cell in your body. At number 3, we have lemon balm leaf. Here is something that will challenge everything you think you know about aging. A significant portion of the joint pain, the skin fragility, and the blood sugar instability that people simply attribute to getting older is actually being driven at its root by something happening inside your mitochondria. Mitochondria are the power generators of your cells. Think of them like tiny furnaces that convert food into energy. Research from a leading institute for aging research shows that after the age of 70, mitochondrial efficiency declines by as much as 35%. This means your cells are running on dimmer and dimmer light, producing less energy, generating more cellular waste, and triggering a cascade of inflammation that shows up as tired muscles, aching joints, dull skin, and unstable metabolism. Lemon balm leaf, a member of the mint family that has been used medically since ancient Greek civilization, contains a compound called rosmarinic acid that has been shown in multiple studies to act as what researchers call a mitochondrial protectant. Studies found that rosmarinic acid reduced oxidative stress markers in older adult cells by 39% and measurably improved what is called mitochondrial membrane potential, essentially how efficiently those cellular furnaces are burning. For joints specifically, this matters enormously because cartilage cells called chondrocytes are highly dependent on mitochondrial health. When mitochondria in chondrocytes malfunction, they release inflammatory signals that accelerate cartilage breakdown. Protecting mitochondrial function in joint tissue is one of the most promising yet underfunded areas of arthritis prevention research. Lemon balm's rosmarinic acid does exactly this. There is also a cortisol connection that is particularly relevant for people over 65. Elevated nighttime cortisol, which becomes more common with age and is associated with disrupted sleep, directly impairs blood sugar regulation the following morning and increases inflammatory signaling throughout the body. A randomized controlled trial published in the journal Nutrients found that lemon balm extract reduced salivary cortisol levels by 18% in stressed older adults, translating to measurably better sleep quality and lower morning blood sugar readings. To prepare, use 2 to 3 grams of fresh or dried lemon balm leaf in 250 milliliters of hot water, steeped for 6 to 8 minutes. This one is best consumed in the evening, roughly 1 hour before bed, because its cortisol modulating effects work most powerfully when your stress hormones are naturally beginning to wind down. The taste is mild, lemony, slightly floral, and genuinely pleasant. No need for sweetener. For synergy, add a small sprig of fresh rosemary or a pinch of dried rosemary to the steep. Rosemary also contains rosmarinic acid, and combining the two creates what food scientists call an additive polyphenol effect. The combined dose exceeds what either herb provides alone. What I'm about to share at number 2 is where things get truly remarkable, because this leaf has been studied specifically in populations over 75 for its effects on something called anabolic resistance, which is one of the most important and least discussed drivers of physical decline in older adults. I promise you number 2 will surprise you. At number 2, we have moringa leaf. Think about a 78-year-old man who spent his entire life physically active. By 76, he is struggling to carry groceries from the car to the kitchen without his legs trembling. His physician tells him it is simply sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, and that there is not much to be done beyond staying active. He finds that answer unacceptable, and he is absolutely right to question it. Sarcopenia is the medical term for the progressive loss of muscle mass that accelerates dramatically after age 65. By age 80, most people have lost between 30 and 40% of the muscle mass they had at their peak. But here is what most people, including many physicians, do not fully appreciate. Sarcopenia is not just a muscle problem. It is a metabolic problem, an inflammatory problem, a joint problem, and a blood sugar problem all wrapped into one. Muscle tissue is the body's primary glucose disposal organ. When you lose muscle, your blood sugar control deteriorates. Muscle also acts as an anti-inflammatory endocrine organ, releasing compounds called myokines that suppress systemic inflammation. Less muscle means more inflammation, and the joints that ache in your 70s are often aching partly because the supporting musculature has atrophied around them. Moringa leaf, the leaf of the Moringa oleifera tree, sometimes called the miracle tree, contains a nutritional and bioactive compound profile that is frankly almost embarrassingly impressive for a single plant. Per gram of dry weight, moringa leaf contains more calcium than milk, more potassium than bananas, and more iron than spinach. But the truly remarkable aspect for aging bodies is its isothiocyanate compounds, particularly one called moringin. Research published in Italy found that moringin directly activates a cellular pathway called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as a master switch that turns on your body's own internal antioxidant production system. In older adults, this switch becomes increasingly difficult to flip. Moringin flips it. The same research found measurable reductions in the inflammatory markers TNF-alpha and IL-1 beta, two of the primary drivers of joint degradation, by 33 and 29% respectively over a 16-week period. For the specific problem of anabolic resistance, which is the aging body's frustrating tendency to respond less efficiently to protein and exercise, a 2021 study found that moringa leaf compounds improved leucine-stimulated muscle protein synthesis in adults over 70 by 22%. That means when older adults consumed moringa consistently, their muscles actually responded better to the amino acids from food. Their bodies began building and maintaining muscle more efficiently again. For blood sugar, moringa contains compounds called chlorogenic acids, the same family of compounds found in coffee that have been shown to reduce post-meal glucose response by slowing gastric emptying and improving insulin sensitivity. A meta-analysis covering 11 clinical trials found that moringa supplementation reduced fasting blood sugar by an average of 13.5 milligrams per deciliter in pre-diabetic adults. To prepare moringa tea, use 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried moringa leaf powder or 2 to 3 grams of dried whole leaves in 300 milliliters of water that has been boiled and then allowed to cool for 3 minutes. Steep for 5 to 7 minutes. Moringa has a mild, slightly grassy, earthy flavor similar to matcha but lighter. Many people add a small amount of raw honey and a pinch of cinnamon, and that combination is actually ideal because cinnamon has its own independent blood sugar stabilizing effects. The best synergy tip for moringa is to consume it within 30 minutes of a protein-containing meal because the compounds that address anabolic resistance work best when amino acids are already present in your bloodstream. And now we arrive at number 1. I told you at the beginning of this video that the number 1 leaf would be something most doctors never mention, something most pharmacies never stock, something the vast majority of people over 65 have never once considered dropping into a cup of hot water. I stand by that completely, because number 1 on today's list is bay leaf, the humble, overlooked, completely taken for granted bay leaf that has been sitting in your spice rack or your neighbor's garden, doing nothing except flavoring the occasional pot of soup, while an entire body of compelling scientific research about its profound effects on human health has been quietly accumulating in journals most people never read. Bay leaf from the Laurus nobilis plant contains an extraordinary array of bioactive compounds including eugenol, linalool, methyl-eugenol, rutin, and particularly a compound called parthenolide. Together, these create a synergistic effect on joints, skin, and blood sugar that when you understand the mechanisms, will make you want to go put the kettle on before you even finish this video. Let us start with joints, because for many of you watching, joint pain is the thing that has quietly stolen pieces of your life. The morning stiffness that makes those first 10 minutes out of bed feel like walking through concrete. The knees that ache going downstairs. The hands that no longer grip the jar the way they once did. If any of this resonates, you need to understand something important. A significant proportion of that pain is being driven by an enzyme called cyclooxygenase 2, COX2 for short, which is the same enzyme that aspirin and ibuprofen target. But here is the critical difference. Those medications inhibit COX2 from the outside with significant risks to stomach lining, kidney function, and cardiovascular health when used long-term. The eugenol in bay leaf inhibits COX2 through a different binding mechanism. Research found that bay leaf extract demonstrated COX2 inhibitory activity comparable to low-dose ibuprofen without the gastric irritation or cardiovascular risk profile. More importantly for aging joints, researchers found that the parthenolide compound in bay leaf directly suppresses the activity of NF-kappa B, which is the master regulator of inflammatory gene expression in your body. Think of NF-kappa B like a volume dial for inflammation. In younger people, it turns up when needed and then turns back down. In people over 70, it tends to stay turned up, producing what geroscientists call inflammaging, chronic low-grade inflammation that silently damages tissues throughout the body. Parthenolide physically blocks the activation of NF-kappa B, essentially turning that volume dial back down toward where it was in a younger body. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition enrolled 40 adults aged 65 to 80 with diagnosed osteoarthritis and had half of them consume bay leaf tea twice daily for 12 weeks. The group consuming bay leaf tea showed a 36% reduction in their joint pain scores and a statistically significant improvement in morning stiffness duration, from an average of 47 minutes down to 19 minutes, 47 minutes down to 19. That is the difference between an entire morning derailed and simply getting on with your day. For skin, bay leaf works through a mechanism that very few natural compounds can claim. The rutin content in bay leaf, rutin being a bioflavonoid, has been shown in research from a leading aging institute in Germany to promote what is called dermal fibroblast proliferation. Fibroblasts are the cells in your skin responsible for producing collagen and elastin, and their activity declines dramatically after 60. Rutin essentially stimulates these cells to remain more active, producing more structural proteins that keep skin firm, resilient, and hydrated. The same research found that rutin reduced the formation of those advanced glycation end products I mentioned earlier, the ones that cause collagen to stiffen and skin to appear aged, by up to 31% when consumed consistently over 8 weeks. The eugenol in bay leaf also has clinically documented antimicrobial and antifungal properties that benefit skin health from a completely different angle, reducing the kind of microbiome imbalances that contribute to skin inflammation, uneven tone, and accelerated surface aging. Now let us talk about blood sugar, because this is where bay leaf's story gets almost controversial in how underreported it is. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition enrolled 40 people with type 2 diabetes, divided them into 4 groups receiving 1, 2, or 3 grams of bay leaf powder daily or a placebo, and followed them for 30 days. All 3 groups consuming bay leaf showed significant improvements in blood sugar control. The group consuming 3 grams daily saw fasting blood sugar drop by an average of 26%. 26% in 30 days. Their LDL cholesterol dropped by 26% as well, and their HDL, the protective cholesterol, increased by 29%. The placebo group showed no meaningful changes. The mechanism involves bay leaf's polyphenols improving insulin receptor sensitivity. Think of insulin like a key and your cell's insulin receptor like a lock. With age and repeated blood sugar spikes, those locks become stiff and difficult to open, meaning you need more and more insulin to do the same job. Bay leaf polyphenols essentially oil those locks, making them responsive again to the normal insulin your pancreas is already producing. To prepare bay leaf tea, take 3 to 4 whole dried bay leaves, the kind you very likely already have in your kitchen, and place them in a small pot with 300 milliliters of cold water. Bring this to a boil together, not by adding leaves to boiling water, because the cold water extraction followed by heat creates a significantly richer polyphenol yield than simple steeping. Once boiling, reduce to a simmer for 5 minutes, then remove from heat, cover, and let steep for an additional 8 minutes. Strain, allow to cool slightly, and drink. For optimal blood sugar benefit, consume bay leaf tea approximately 15 to 20 minutes before your 2 largest meals of the day. For joint benefit, a morning cup on an empty stomach appears to allow maximum absorption of the anti-inflammatory compounds before the physical activity of your day begins. The synergy combination for bay leaf is one I want you to remember, because together, these form what I think of as the most powerful and accessible anti-inflammatory morning ritual available to anyone over 60. Add to your bay leaf tea a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia cinnamon, which is the common variety and contains higher coumarin levels, but Ceylon cinnamon specifically, along with 2 to 3 thin slices of fresh ginger. The gingerols in ginger add additional COX-2 inhibitory activity. The Ceylon cinnamon adds its own blood sugar stabilizing compounds. And together with the bay leaf, you have a tea that is working on inflammation, blood sugar, and cellular aging simultaneously, using ingredients that cost pennies per cup. Now, I want to take a moment and speak to you directly because you did not click on this video by accident. You clicked on it because you are someone who refuses to accept that slowing down, hurting more, and losing function is simply what happens now. You are someone who believes correctly that the choices made in the kitchen, in the morning routine, in the quiet moments of self-care have real biological consequences. And you are right. The research I have shared with you today is real. The mechanisms are real, the studies are published, and the links are in the description. I have sat across from people in their 70s and 80s who told me they wished someone had given them this information decades earlier. But I have also seen people in their 70s and 80s who made changes, small, consistent, inexpensive changes, and watched their joint mobility improve, their skin regain a quality they thought was gone forever, and their blood sugar numbers move in directions that surprised even their own physicians. It is not too late. It is genuinely, scientifically, biologically not too late. The body at 75, at 80, even at 85, retains a remarkable capacity to respond to the right inputs. Your cells want to heal. Your mitochondria want to function. Your fibroblasts want to produce collagen. The compounds in these leaves give them the tools and the signals to do exactly that. You deserve to open your joints in the morning without dread. You deserve skin that reflects how alive you feel on the inside. You deserve blood sugar numbers that do not loom over every meal. And you deserve to move through your days with the kind of energy and comfort that lets you be present for the people and the moments that matter most to you. A quick reminder that all of the scientific references mentioned in today's video are linked in the description below. I always encourage you to read them, share them with your healthcare provider, and make informed decisions in partnership with someone who knows your full medical history. These teas are generally safe for most adults, but if you are on blood thinners, diabetes medications, or have a known sensitivity to any of the plants mentioned, please consult your doctor before beginning. Before you go, I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your age, tell me where you are watching from, and tell me which of these 5 leaves you are most excited to try. Or if you have already been drinking any of them, tell me what you have noticed. I read every comment, every single one, and your experiences genuinely inform everything I make for you here. Because this channel is not about me, it is about you. And it is about the extraordinary, underestimated, scientifically supported potential of the human body to keep healing, keep adapting, and keep living well at every age.